Do you know what Yngwie, B.B. King and Marty Friedman has in common? Yes, they're killer vibrato, but how did they get it? Talent? Kissed from a muse? Given by God? I don't know, and I really don't care, because today I'm going to show you a method nearly nobody's talking about. It's time to get a killer vibrato. Here we go. Hey Guitar Champion, what's going on? I'm 𝙎𝙤𝙢𝙚𝙦 back from my practice cave and welcome to today's video. First, a little story how I realized how important a controlled and trained vibrato is. In the early 2010s there was a huge yearly guitar contest in Germany which is called the Robert Johnson Award. Hosted by some of the most legendary German guitar players like Markus Demel or Mr. Sky Guitar himself, Uli John Roth. A lot of the contesters lately become one of the most important players in the national guitar scene, like Nico Schliemann or Ben Hawk from Disillusion, or this young fellow here who later become one of the most important current international blues guitar acts. Now in 2011, a 21-year-old Justin Hornbach also applied for this contest with this video. And he got accepted and failed totally. I went to the contest and I realized, okay, I'm definitely one of the fastest and most kind of shreddy guitar player here, but I have one really big issue: this vibrato. Not really good. But I did not notice and did not realize back in the day. After losing this competition, I realized, okay, I really have to work on my phrasing technique. And I came up with a unique concept that really helped to boost my phrasing to the next level, and that will now help your phrasing and your vibrato as well. First, we have to check if your technique is correct. This is quintessential to have a really well-developed vibrato. The vibrato technique, at least in rock music, is a bending motion. But instead of the bending kind of technique where we're going from one note to the next note, here now we're leaving one note and coming back to that note, and leaving it again and coming back to that note. And by that manipulating our root note. Other than the normal left hand playing that we can perform in the classical position, the bending motion requires a lot of force. And when your bending motion looks like this, you better stop doing it. Never bend out of your fingers. You won't get enough strength. Use the supination and pronation movement coming out of your wrist. With that, we have much more access to muscles that gives us the required strength. Now, I started to see the vibrato technique in two parameters: timing and intensity. The vibrato timing is actually pretty easy to practice. We only need the help of the musician's best friend, which is a metronome. Because we can actually practice the vibrato playing in different subdivisions. Let me demonstrate this to you. So I set my click to 60 BPM. And now first I will vibrate in quarter notes, which means I will make one movement on every 1, 2, 3, and 4. That sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and now I will do this in 8 notes. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I highly recommend for you to take 10 minutes of your practice routine and just play one note at a certain tempo through all the subdivisions. Starting on quarter notes, then 8 notes, 8-note triplets, and up to 30-second notes if you like, or if you can, and then down again. This is also, in general, a really good exercise for your timing and for your skills to change or to switch between subdivisions immediately. Now, the intensity is a little bit more abstract. And here I try to imagine the vibrato as an amplitude and a coordinate system, going from a really wide vibrato that would look like this to a really small vibrato with not so much intensity that will look like this. And now trying to translate these images to your fretboard. And now the last step is to combine these two parameters to practice, for example, really fast but really low vibrato with not so much intensity, or a slow but really wide vibrato. And it is now a lot of fun to analyze your favorite lead guitar players with these two parameters in your mind. Like, for example, realizing that B.B. King has a really fast but really soft and really tiny vibrato when it comes to the intensity. Yngwie is always vibrating in triplets, or John Petrucci is a master in building up the vibrato using different timings, different intensity. Just listen to the solo of The Spirit Carries On and you will hear what I mean. This is such a fun journey. I highly recommend to do this. Now, I've created for you 5 different melodies that you can download as a Guitar Pro, as a PDF file, and as the melodic demonstration of it for free. Just click the link in the description box. Now, I want from you that you take one of these melodies and that you now try to imply and incorporate different kind of vibratos on these melodies and start to create a musical story with your phrasing and your vibrato. Start, for example, really high, really explosive with a really huge vibrato and then going down and down and down, slower and slower while you're playing the rest of the melody, or the other way around, or mix it up a little bit. You can be so creative now with the help of these two parameters. This helped me a lot to improve my phrasing, especially when it comes to improvisation and playing melodies and all this kind of stuff. Now, let's end this video with 2 common mistakes that a lot of people are doing. The first mistake is never going back to the original root note. It is really easy, especially in the beginning when you don't have all the force that you need developed in your left hand. It's really easy to not really go back to the original note, to go back to the original intonation where we're coming from, where we have left, but to stay above it a little bit. But by doing this, it easily sounds out of tune when you are playing a melody or a vibrato. And the second thing is give your vibrato time to develop. This is so important. I see this so often. Don't start your vibrato as soon as you play the note. This can be extremely irritating for our ear, because our ear does not have any chance to listen to the original intended note, but it will listen immediately to the manipulation of that note. So start with a note here and then develop a vibrato after the time more and more, but give it space to develop and give it space for our ear to understand the original note, how it was intended. This is really important for a lot of other instruments like saxophone, vocals, strings, horns, whatever. And on guitar, nearly nobody is talking about this, even though here it is also extremely important. Sometimes this can be a little bit of a culture kind of thing. I'm often surrounded by 90s Turkish pop music because the Turkish culture is a pretty huge one here in Germany. And every time when I'm at my barber or at my favorite döner shop, I always listen to this kind of music. And every time I listen to it, I realize they are exactly doing this. The vocalists are always putting the vibrato immediately on that note, and this may be a little bit irritating for our European Western kind of ear, but there I believe it's absolutely normal. Yeah, so much about my method how to develop a good vibrato. I wish you a lot of fun learning, practicing and mastering these methods. If you want to support me, then check out my Patreon. There I have monthly challenges, monthly licks and solos for you. With only $5 you can be part of it. And other than that, of course, the biggest support is to give this video a like and to subscribe. I hope I'm going to see you in my next video. Cheers so far and stay progress. Bye.